Hey guys, HardlyBriefDan here with another episode. This is episode 10 of our August Game of the Month series. This is Cannon Assault this month, and what we're going to work on today is adding a way to actually destroy our enemies with the ammo that comes out of our cannon. So instead of just flying by and dropping bombs, we're actually going to destroy it today. I think that'll be fun, and then we're going to work on, at the end of the video, moving our spawn so it goes up and down. And then we basically have a very, very simple game that we're going to add to it throughout the rest of the month. It doesn't meet all the game design document specifications that we wanted, so we're going to go ahead and hopefully meet all those. So the first thing that I want you to do is go ahead to our jet fighter prefab. And I've already played around with some of this stuff because I wanted to make sure it all worked before I implemented it for you. But that's why you can see that some of it's done. But don't worry, I left the coding for us to do. So what I want you to do is go ahead and make a jet fighter, or on our jet fighter prefab, go ahead and add a rigid body 2D and a box collider 2D. To do this, you can go to add component here, go to physics 2D, and you see the rigid body 2D and the box collider 2D. And I'm going to go ahead and drag this jet fighter into our placing so you can kind of see it. As you see, this is the jet fighter. I told you that we're using a temporary texture for it, basically, and or image for it because I haven't created it yet. But anyways, you can see this green box here. It's pretty faint. I'm going to go ahead and change the size of it so hopefully you'll be able to see it better. This little green box here is called a collider, and it is used for several things, but in physics it can be used to, like, say that you want this thing to, if it hits a square object, it can roll over it or something. You know, the physics engine will sense that and perform physics calculations to do those types of things. But the way we're going to use it is to do see if things enter this collider. So we're using a box because it takes less calculations to do that. Since this is a simple game, we don't need a very complex shape to match our, to match it. The other thing to match the shape. The other thing is when you add it, it's probably going to start out as 1:1. So come down here to size and adjust it. For me, I've adjusted to 4.8 and 1.3, and that's just about the size I want. So basically, if you're super lucky and you get a cannon to enter right here, it's going to hit the wing here. It's going to destroy it, or it's going to hit the tail. It's going to hit somewhere, and it's going to destroy our prefab, which is what we want, and that's the code that we're going to add. So go ahead and do that for Jetfighter. The other thing you need to do is go ahead and add some tags. I've added a cannon ammo tag, a jet fighter ammo tag, and a jet fighter tag. We've done this before. Obviously, we've done our firing point and spawn point. So go ahead and add these three. Once you do that, go ahead and go to jet fighter and tag it as jet fighter. For jet fighter ammo, you want to do the same thing. Go ahead and tag it as jet fighter ammo. And then for cannon ammo, 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how many you have, you want to go ahead and add the tag cannon ammo and add a box collider 2D as well to it. And make sure you adjust the size because, like I've said before, usually when you add this thing in here, you can see this faint green line. It's a little too small, so I had to make it a little bit bigger. So once you've done all that, then you can be ready to go ahead and start coding. We're going to be jumping into the jet fighter script. So go ahead and on the prefab, you can go ahead and click the jet fighter script and open that up in MonoDevelop. And this is where we're going to start scripting. We're going to add a very simple function. That function is found in the Unity engine library, I believe. It might be in MonoBehavior. It's one of the two, but basically it's used to look for to trigger different events, and it happens to so-called be trigger. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and do void on trigger enter 2D. I'm using the 2D version because we're in 2D Unity, and it's a capital D, not lowercase. Make sure you do that. And this thing takes a collider. And now, since again we're in Unity 2D, we're going to take a collider 2D, and we're going to go ahead and call it collider. You can call this whatever you want. Doesn't need to be collider 2D collider. It can be collider 2D blah or name or test, whatever you want. Game object if you want, not game object, maybe like game OBJ for game object. It's whatever you want. But what we want to do is basically this event or this method is attached to a jet fighter, so it's looking for things that are going to enter it. And what we want to see is if our cannon ammo enters it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do if collider dot game object dot tag is equal to some sort of tag. Well, what is that tag? Well, if you remember, what we just did is we added a cannon ammo tag. So go ahead and do cannon ammo. And what we're going to do is destroy this game object. We're going to destroy the helicopter, or the jet fighter. So you're going to go ahead and destroy, and you're going to go transform.gameObject. So what we're doing here is we are destroying the jet fighter once the game object tagged as cannon ammo enters the jet fighter collider. And let me go ahead and zoom in on this for you. I keep forgetting to do that. So hopefully you can see this. Here we have the function we just added. It's called onTriggerEnter2D. It takes a collider 2D, and we called it collider. And I went ahead and added this comment, so it explains what this is doing. Okay, so Control S to save. We'll jump back into Unity. I'm going to go ahead and press play, and we should see once I move our placing up that when I fire, let's see if we can get one. There we go. See, it entered and it destroyed the game object. It disappeared. There we go. The red one hit it. Now, there's one thing that's happening that I don't like. First off, mainly, there's two things we need to add. One, score, and then the other thing that I don't like is that the bomb that hits it is still continuing to fly. We don't want that. We want to destroy it itself as well. So, underneath this destroy transform.gameObject, we're going to go ahead and say destroy collider.gameObject. Right? So if a game object, if this collider that hits us, say it's not a missile, then none of this will run. But if the game object is tagged as cannon ammo, it's going to destroy it's going to destroy the jet fighter, and now it's going to destroy the ammo itself. Now the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and add a score. So every time we destroy a jet fighter, we want to add score to it. So we're going to go ahead and make a public int. And we're making this public so you can adjust it in the editor. So it's going to be public int, and we're going to call this jet fighter point amount. Like that. Control S to save. Go into our game stats real quick. Game stats script, and you can see that we've have this public static integer here. It's public meaning we can access it. Static meaning that it's the only one. Integer meaning that's the type. It's going to be a whole number, and then we called it current game score. So basically we can access this current game score in other scripts, and that's what we're going to do here. So after we destroy the game object, the jet fighter, and after we destroy the missile, we want to add points to our game score. So we're going to go ahead and do game stats dot current game score is equal to or plus equals, so we're adding to it. We're going to add jet fighter point amount. Right? So this is shorthand for saying jet fighter or game score is equal to game score plus jet fighter amount. That's what that means right here. So go ahead and Control S to save. Go into Unity. Go ahead and click your jet fighter prefab, and you can see, I'm going to go ahead and collapse these. You can see that we've added this new point amount. I'm going to go ahead and make it 1,000 just so that we can notice it changing. I'm going to go ahead and press play. And now, when I destroy, oh, missed it. See, oh, we destroyed one. You can see we're at, bam, we got one. So 35. We've gotten 3 so far. 4. There we go. See, so we're actually getting some damage over here. We're destroying some things, which is good. We're destroying helicopters. We're adding jet fighters, and we're adding it to the score, which is some great things. It's adding some more gameplay to the game. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and open up our gameplay manager, and I believe this is where we control our spawn point. Right, the spawn point is just this is where we look at our spawn point. Excuse me, but the spawn point in Unity, we can go ahead and click on it. It's just an empty game object. It has a transform on it, but it doesn't do anything. But we're going to actually change that. And what I want to do is go ahead and adjust. I'm going to move this up and down, and you can see that it's going between like 2 and 4. So we're going to actually make a script. We're going to go ahead and put this back to 4. We're going to make a script and attach to it. So go ahead in our play scene folder here. We're going to go to, we'll just keep it in here for now. We're going to go ahead and create a C# script, and we're going to call it spawn point locator. We'll call it relocator because that's what it's going to do, right? So we're going to go ahead and drag this to our spawn point, so it's attached to the game object. Going to open that up in MonoDevelop, and hopefully you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to do. What we're going to do is create a couple public variables. We're going to go public int. These will actually be floats, and we're going to say min height, and then we're going to say public float max height. And you can see I misspelled min up there. Go ahead and fix that real quick. And we'll go max height, right? So these are going to be the minimum height and the maximum height that this spawn point can go. And if you remember, I'm in a 16:9 screen ratio. So if you're in a different one, these heights are going to be different for you. That's why I'm making it public, making it so that you can edit it here. And already I know that I want the max height to be 4.5. And I want the minimum height to be probably like 2.5. Let's go say, I'm going to go ahead and put 2. That might change with testing, but we'll figure it out. So what we want to do is basically go ahead and we're going to check every time we, where is it? In our gameplay manager, every time we reset our enemy spawn timer, right? So we reset it down here. And you remember we get a new one. So basically, every time we get a new spawn timer, we want to immediately change where our spawn point relocator is, or where spawn point is. So we want to make sure, and we want to compare. So we're going to say, let's create a couple private variables here. We're going to go private. We're going to go ahead and get a it's in milliseconds. So we're going to get an integer. We're going to go private int past enemy timer. We'll go enemy time, and then we're going to go private int current enemy time. So basically we're going to say, if our current enemy time is different than our past enemy time, then we know that the enemy timer has reset itself, and therefore we want to reset our player height, right? So we're going to go in comments I'll say that. So if our current enemy time is different than our because we're comparing, than our past enemy time. So if our current enemy time is different than our past enemy time, then we'll go ahead. We know that a change has occurred. So we want to relocate our spawn point. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And the way we're going to do this is every time we're going to check every frame, we're going to be comparing this. So we want to go ahead and say if past enemy time does not equal our current enemy time, then we know a change occurred. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and copy this, or cut it and paste it in here. Oh goodness, it didn't find it. Okay, so then we know a change occurred, and then we're going to say relocate. So we'll go ahead and create a private void down here function, private void relocate spawn. And so now the question is, how are we going to capture current enemy time? Well, current enemy time is going to be equal to our spawn timer, which I believe we made static and public, right? I think. Yep. Oh, it's at least public, so we can access it. So we're going to go ahead. It's up here, enemy time. We go ahead and say gameplay manager dot game timer, or enemy timer. Looks like we can't access it. We're going to go ahead and make it static so we can get at it. So we're going to go ahead and do dot gameplay manager dot enemy timer dot elapsed milliseconds. Control save. Make sure we don't have any problems in Unity. Current enemy time. It's a log. Oh, because it's a double, I believe. Let me make sure. Gonna go ahead and cast this as an int. Should get rid of that error. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've converted this milliseconds thing into an int. And we're gonna actually see if it's different. What we want to do is say void start. I did not mean to delete this because we're going to use it. And what we want to do is make sure to check our current, at the start we want to say current enemy time is going to be equal to, or past enemy time is going to be equal to our game. We'll say int gameplay manager dot enemy timer dot elapsed milliseconds. Right, so at the very start we're going to say, okay, we'll do that, and then we're going to keep checking, and it's going to change. This is going to actually change. I just think I'm doing this a little wrong, and that's okay. Oh, you know what we'll do? We're not even going to mess with the timers because it's going to make it a little too complicated. So real quick, what we'll do, go ahead and erase this. Sorry that I made you type it out and waste your time, but I came up with a little easier way. Instead of making this a static timer and stuff, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a public static bool. And we're going to call this has reset. Right? And we're going to go ahead and set the false to start, has reset. Actually, we'll set it equal to true for now. And basically what it does is when we go ahead and say, when we reset our timer, we're going to set this bool to true. So we're going to go has reset is equal to true. I'm going to comment this one out at the start. So we'll set equal to false at this beginning. So basically when we reset the timer, we're going to set reset is true. So then we're going to say in our point locator, we're going to say if gameplay manager dot has reset is equal to true, if it's true, just leave it like that. Then we know a change has occurred, and then what we want to do is go ahead after we reset our location. So we're going to call relocate spawn. After that, we want to go ahead and change the bool. So we'll go gameplay manager dot reset is equal to false. Right? So this will allow us to do it once. Hopefully you get that. Hopefully that makes sense. I think this is a way better way of handling it than using the timer stuff. So we don't. This should help us avoid ever messing up our timer. I think it's good if we keep those two entities separate. So there's no chance of us messing that up at all. So let's see. So what we want to do now is go ahead and do our relocation thing. And then what we're going to do is we are just going to change. We are going to change the game object. Sorry about my phone. Game object location. Okay, sorry about that. I had to check to see if that was work. So anyways, what we're going to do is go ahead and look at our spawn, and you can see that it has a transform attached to it and it has a position, and we're actually only going to be changing our Y. Everything else is going to stay the same. So what we want to do is go up here and make a private variable. It's going to be a vector3, and we're going to say spawns position. Yeah, spawns original position. And we're going to go ahead and bring back that start function. So we're going to go ahead start. I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. Sorry about that. And we're going to say spawn point original position is going to be equal to transform dot position. So what this is doing is it's catching spawn, whatever the script is attached to, transforms position and setting it equal to that. And then now what we're going to do is when we call this, I'm just going to call it spawn position actually. We'll go ahead and change that. So when we call this function or this method, we're going to go ahead and say just change our y. So because that's all we're going to go up and down. So we're going to go ahead and say spawn location, spawn's position is going to be equal to a new vector 3 and we're going to actually just change our, we're going to go ahead and say spawns position dot x. Then we're going to leave y as 0 for now, and then we're going to say spawns again, sorry about my phone, we're going to say spawns position dot z. Okay, now you're saying, well, why are we changing it to 0? Well, we're actually going to come in here and make this a random variable. We're going to go random.range, and we're going to go from our min height to our max height. So now we're creating a random variable in here that is going to change our location, and what we're going to do is make sure that this function is being called. So we're going to go debug log, and then we're going to say relocating. Make sure you put your quotations, relocating. Like that. Control S to save. We'll go into Unity and assume we don't have any errors. If we do not, we're going to go ahead and make sure it's all up on there. We're going to go ahead and press play. Look at that. Now, you can see our spawn point relocated. And I'm going to go ahead. Let's see if it's changing. Doesn't look like it's changing, does it? It's not. Now we should, we should figure out why. Oh, I know why. Because what we need to actually, we're finding, excuse me. So we're actually getting the relocation, but we need to actually physically move it. We're just finding it. We're creating, we're doing some math to create a new vector 3 basically, but we haven't applied it to the position. Hopefully you guys caught that. So what we need to do is go ahead and do transform dot, I think it's transform dot position. Position is going to be equal to our spawn position. Control to save, go into Unity, and now we should see different spawn points if all goes well. Not convinced yet. Oh, missing reference of. Now we gotta figure out why that's happening. So we've relocated. See, spawn relocator, we're doing that. Control save. Let's see, spawn point position. So the reason why is because we only get the position at once. What we need to do is go ahead and retrieve the spawn position every time we are in this timer. So when we spawn the enemy, we want to go ahead and get spawned point dot position, I believe, is going to be equal to this up here. So go ahead and copy this spawn point equal games object, find game object with tag spawn point, transform. Go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go dot position. Right. So basically, what's happening was we are adjusting our position, and we're changing the spawn point, but we're not actually capturing. Or we apply the spawn point position, we weren't capturing it again. We only captured it at the very start. So go ahead and control to save. I don't think we'll have a problem. And now, hopefully, it should be in a different position. It doesn't look like it's doing it. What am I missing right now? No, it is moving. You can see over here. Look at our spawn point. It is changing. It's just not drastic. Yep, okay. There we go. It is working. All right, perfect. So now we're getting them randomly spawned. And the way you can do this is go ahead and change our min and max. Go ahead and change the max to 1 or min to 1. Hopefully we'll see a greater range. Let's see if we can get a low one. There we go. That's a pretty low one. Yeah, cool. So it's working just like we want. You know, it's not beautiful, but it's a simple game, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a simple game. So I think what I'm actually going to do is keep this video going. You know, we're making good progress, and what we're going to do is go ahead and on our jet fighter ammo thing here. Actually, no. But go to the cannon base. This is actually, where are we keeping our player health? Well, actually, on the cannon base, we're going to go ahead and add a rigid body to it. We're going to add a 2D rigid body to it, and we're going to go ahead and add a 2D collider. This will be a, I don't know if I want to do circle collider. We'll go ahead and look at it, figure it out. Let's see, go to the play scene. And we want to go ahead and look at this circle collider. Ideally, if we can get the circle collider to kind of go around this or be more of an oval, that would be perfect. So the radius is pretty good. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually lower the center down. So we're going to say, we're going to center it around -1. There we go. See how, maybe you can see what I'm doing? -2. So now we want it to like -1.8. See how this green line, hopefully you can see it on YouTube, but this green line kind of goes around. It's not going to hit this outer skirt yet, but we'll go ahead and adjust the radius and make the radius 3. I'm going to make the radius a bit bigger. We're going to say 4. That's way too big. 3.5. 3.5 looks like it will work. -2. I don't want it. Let's say -2.5. It's gonna do the same. I don't know why. I thought maybe you can actually kind of make this more of an oval, but you really can't. So we're gonna go ahead and just make this a radius of 3. We're gonna set this at -2. We'll go ahead and do 1.98. So this bubble basically, I think I might just do a square. Because we have a round object, I'm trying to, let's look at what the polygon one does. Let's see if it's really advanced. Yeah, see, you can see this polygon. Actually, we'll go ahead and use it. Go ahead and delete the circle collider. And we're going to use this polygon one. And we're going to say that it's a trigger. And you can see on here that if something hits any part of this, it's going to trigger it. And we're going to do the same exact thing we were doing before. Make sure the gravity is set to 0. And we're going to be looking for jet fighter ammo. So we're going to say, go ahead, back to our cannon base. We're going to go ahead and create a C# script in our play cannon. Go ahead and go to our cannon control. Create a C# script, and we're going to call this base cannon control, I guess. Go ahead and open that up in MonoDevelop, and we're going to add a trigger function. We're going to go void on trigger enter 2D. Remember 2D, capital D. It takes a collider 2D. I'm going to call it collider. And in the function, we're going to say, well, if collider dot game object dot tag is equal to jet fighter ammo, because that's the only ammo we got right now. Jet fighter ammo, we're going to go ahead and say subtract health, right? So we're going to go to our game stats up here, and we have a public static current, I think it's current. Yep, public static current health. We're going to go ahead and say subtract a certain amount. We're going to go ahead and make this a public variable. So we're going to go public int. Actually, no. What we'll do, I think Canon ammo has a script on it, or a static variable on it. Let me go ahead and open the jet fighter ammo up and check. It doesn't, so we'll go ahead and just keep track of this in our base cannon. So again, go ahead and go back to our base cannon control, and we're going to create a public variable, we're going to call this jet fighter ammo damage, and we're going to say game stats dot current health minus equals, so we're subtracting from health, and we're going to say jet fighter ammo damage, like that. Bam. So you're saying, well, what happens when we're getting hit with all these other things? Well, we're going to say if the jet fighter tag, or if the game object tag is for jet fighter ammo, and if it's this, or if it's this, or if it's this, then we're going to go ahead and just subtract them all. But we only have one type of ammo right now, or damage form, and that's jet fighter ammo. So when we add the helicopter, we'll go ahead and add the damage to that. So go ahead and Control S to save. Go back into Unity. We should not have any errors. We need to go ahead and drag this script onto our cannon base game object. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it and drag it on there. You can see it now. I'm going to go ahead and add the damage to be 25, 30 for now. And I'm going to go ahead and press play. And we should lose some health, hopefully. So let me check. Let's make sure the jet fighter ammo is tagged as jet fighter ammo. Jet fighter ammo. Let's make sure that it's not working yet, but we'll figure it out. Collider, yeah, I'm doing it right. Collider.gameObject.tag. Right, that's exactly what we did to our base control. Collider, I need to set our collider as a trigger, I think. I don't know if I did that. I did do that. We have a rigid body. This could be because they're in a different layer, I think. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and add this to the play objects layer. We're going to go ahead and move our I think that might be it. We're going to go ahead and move our cannon barrel to the ground layer. Oh, let's see if that actually worked. Let's see. Play objects. We'll go ahead and set that back to ground. It should. Maybe I've never used these polygon colliders. I assume they work the same way. We're gonna go ahead and add a box collider to it, and we're gonna go ahead and turn off our polygon collider, and we're gonna go ahead and press. We're gonna set this as a trigger, and we're gonna see if it affects it at all. Let's see if we're getting. Let's go debug.log, and we're gonna say triggered. Right, we want to see if it's actually entering, if we're registering anything. So go ahead and press play. So these bombs aren't triggering anything. On trigger, enter 2D collider. Let's find out. On trigger, enter collider 2D. So I'm not even getting here. We are on our base. Play objects. I'm just curious, wondering why, these bullets, bombs, whatever, are... Oh, ha. Okay, so I'm drawing a blank. Sorry about that. So basically what's happening is our jet fighter ammo doesn't have a collider on it. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to actually run into a problem. And We'll probably leave it there for this video because now it's getting kind of long, but we'll go ahead and add a box collider to these. And you will see the issue, I think. Oh, well, you won't. So basically, a cool little thing, because we have gravity turned off, we're not going to see any real physics effects, but if you go ahead and turn the gravity on the, or if you put gravity to 1, I believe, and the cannon, and the helicopter fires, oh, it's going to fire too fast. But basically, anyways, you can actually see how the bombs dropping out of the jet fighter are affecting the positioning of our jet fighter. But we don't need to deal with that. So now we are triggering on our base, and we should see our health drop. I wasn't paying attention, and it is, and we're still generating health slowly. As you can see, we're doing we're doing a lot of damage. So we want to make sure that these guys can't drop it, but we actually are regenerating health. So we got a little game going. It's nothing crazy. We can probably spawn, way too many bullets, but that's okay. This is cool. So, alright, so hopefully you're having fun with this project so far. We've gotten a lot done so far this month. Today we've gotten the enemies to be destroyed, adding to our score. We got the enemies actually hitting us now and hurting us. We're regenerating health. We're getting more and more score based on time, and our spawn points changing. So it's not, it's random on where it's showing up. So hope you guys liked the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Leave your feedback. You can follow me on Twitter or Twitch or Facebook now. I created a Facebook page to post updates and whatnot. So I hope you guys are there for the live stream this Sunday on August 24th, and I'll talk to you guys next time.